Welcome to the AstroNarrator, where the universe becomes a story. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The sky above planet Vorontia churned like a restless ocean of light, its atmosphere painted in impossible hues, violet storms swirling into silver spirals, turquoise lightning drifting lazily like illuminated vines. Any human gazing up for the first time would feel as though they were underwater in some cosmic sea, surrounded not by clouds, but by the living breath of the universe itself. Kaido had stopped marveling at alien skies years ago, yet this one still managed to unsettle him. Something about it whispered warnings he couldn't decipher. Beneath that sky, half buried in the shifting dunes, lay the ancient fortress of Kalrath. No one knew who built it. No one knew how old it was, but everyone knew it was dangerous. The obsidian walls drank all light, turning the structure into a yawning black wound against the pale sand. Every footstep echoed like a whisper from the dead. Kaido's boots scuffed against stone older than his species' written history as he descended into the lower chambers. But he wasn't a soldier. Not really. He was an engineer, the guy who fixed things, scanned things, analyzed things. His mission was supposed to be simple: locate his missing survey team and find the coordinates to the fortress's rumored reactor cores. A routine job with mild risk, in theory. Then the raider ambush happened. The explosions, the screams, the comms going silent one by one. He had barely escaped down a crumbling shaft while the others were scattered or captured. He didn't know who was alive anymore. Now he was alone, his wrist lamp casting a pale halo across runes carved by entities that might have predated humanity itself. The air was cold and metallic, laced with the faint scent of ozone. Every now and then he swore he heard breathing in the walls. But when the scanner in his hand began to spike, he knew the signal wasn't coming from beyond the stone. It was coming from deeper within. Multiple energy readings, he muttered. Organic, massive, great. The fortress layout was confusing, like walking through an Escher painting where the halls changed direction when he wasn't looking. But finally he found the source. A tunnel leading into a vast chamber, shaped like an inverted dome. That's when he saw the cage. IT looked grown rather than built. Rib-like pillars of black metal curve around a central platform, pulsing faint blue lines like veins beneath skin. Chains thicker than tree trunks stretched from the ceiling, connected to a slumped form in the middle of a silhouette, a giant silhouette. Kaido froze. First he thought it was a statue. The being was motionless, head bowed, long white hair cascading to the floor like spilled moonlight. Her skin, visible beneath cracked restraints, glowed faintly with a soft sapphire luminescence. Even seated, she dwarfed the cage, and she was unmistakably feminine. Broad shoulders but graceful lines, a warrior's build softened by exhaustion. "You've got to be kidding me," he whispered. He knew the rumors. Every explorer heard them whispered around campfires. The Empire had captured a Titaness, a being from an ancient race of near-mythic giants. A prisoner so dangerous they kept her hidden in an uncharted fortress. They called her the Titaness Calamity. Some said she destroyed cities. Others said she could rip a starship in half. Most believed she killed anyone who approached her. Kaido stared at the enormous bowl lying cracked near her chained feet. The broken water flask beside it, dust coating both so thick it meant no one had fed her in days. "Monsters don't get thirsty," Kaido muttered. "People do." His pulse thundered in his ears. The smart thing would be to turn around, find a route out, and pretend he never saw this. But something about her stillness, her absolute silence, didn't feel like the presence of a murderer. IT felt like the presence of someone abandoned, that he swallowed and stepped closer. The cage didn't react. No alarms. The only sound was the faint hum of the chains, dug up close. Her size was overwhelming. One of her fingers was as long as his entire arm. If she stood at full height, she might brush the ceiling of a shuttle hangar. "Just how strong are you?" he whispered. Her breath rose and fell shallowly. Each exhale shook dust from the floor. Kaido looked at the cracked container again, then down at the emergency water pack clipped to his belt. He sighed. "This is a bad idea," he told the empty air. "A very, very bad idea. But he unhooked the water pouch anyway. He stepped toward her. His foot touched the boundary of the cage, and nothing happened. No lasers, no traps, no disintegration fields. He reached the platform and placed the water pouch gently near her hand. The chain above clinked. Kaido's breath caught. The giantess's fingers twitched. Her shoulders shifted. A soft groan escaped her lips like distant thunder. Then she raised her face. Her eyelids parted, revealing eyes so bright and star-like they seemed to contain constellations. Light rippled across her irises as they focused on the tiny human standing before her offering water. She breathed, voice shaking from weakness. Kaido froze. Every instinct told him to run, but he stayed. "You're dehydrated," he said quietly. "Drink." Her gaze softened, confusion, disbelief, and something fragile shining within it. "For me?" she whispered. "Yeah," he said. "For you." She lifted the water pouch with trembling fingers and sipped. Her throat moved slowly, painfully. She closed her eyes, savoring the sensation like someone tasting sunlight after decades underground. When she finished, she let out a long, shuddering breath. Then she looked at him again. "Ew." Her voice was hushed, reverent. "You gave me water. I will not harm you. I swear it." Kaido had never heard a vow sound so heartbreakingly sincere. He didn't know it yet, but the moment he handed her that water, his fate was sealed. For a moment after she drank, silence filled the chamber. Heavy, ancient, vibrating with something Kaido couldn't name. The giantess, Lumina, though he didn't know her name yet, held the empty water pouch delicately between two fingers, as if afraid it might break. Her eyes remained fixed on Kaido, bewildered, studying him as though he were a puzzle she didn't quite understand. No, more than that. Like he was the first real thing she'd seen in years. The chains attached to her arms gave a faint metallic sigh, settling back into place as she lowered her hand. She didn't lunge. She didn't roar. She didn't even reach for him. Instead, she studied him with an expression he had not expected on someone her size. Fear. Not fear of him, but fear that he might vanish. Fear that he might be a hallucination or a trick of her starved mind. The realization twisted something inside Kaido's chest. "Easy," he murmured, raising his palms slightly. "I'm not going anywhere." Her breath caught. She leaned for a fraction, just enough for him to feel the warmth radiating from her colossal body. Even weakened, she emitted a soft glow under her skin, as though starlight had been woven through her veins. "You." Her voice trembled. "You returned light where there was none." Kaido blinked. I just gave you water." "To one in chains?" she whispered. "To the cursed? To the monster they warned you of?" Kaido hesitated. He remembered the warnings flashing in the fortress's logs. "Do not feed the giant. Do not approach. Kills on sight." But nothing about the woman before him matched the Empire's depiction. Her eyes weren't violent. They were exhausted. Her body wasn't raging. It was failing. Her spirit wasn't monstrous. It was wounded. "They said anyone who fed you would die," Kaido admitted. A long silence followed. "And yet," she murmured, "you fed me." Kaido shrugged awkwardly. "I don't like watching people suffer." Her eyebrows lifted slightly. Surprise, disbelief, maybe even admiration. "People," she echoed softly. "They do not call us people." Kaido's jaw tightened. "Well, they're idiots." Lumina stared at him as though no one had ever said something so simple and so impossible at the same time. She shifted, and the chains groaned. Kaido noticed then how brutally they cut into her skin. Cracked, bruised, burned as if superheated restraints had been tightened repeatedly over the years. "Hold on," he said, stepping closer. The tea once she flinched. Not violently, but instinctively, like someone expecting pain. "It's okay," Kaido whispered. "I'm just looking." He inspected the metal cuff at her wrist. The alloy was heavy-duty, layered with suppressor runes and energy dampeners. A containment system for someone incredibly strong. "How long have they kept you like this?" he asked quietly. Lumina's gaze drifted upward, past him, to nothing. "To the stars," she murmured. "Time has no meaning here. I sleep. I wake. They take blood. They hurt me when I resist. They starve me when I refuse to obey. I think I lost track after the 100th sunrise. Kaido felt a cold anger settle into his bones. No one deserves that, he said. Lumina tilted her head slightly. You speak as though you know my suffering. No, Kaido admitted. I speak as someone who refuses to ignore it. Her eyes softened, warm, luminous, a universe within them. You are strange, she whispered. I hear that a lot, Kaido replied. She leaned a little closer, her face massive yet gentle. What is your name, small one? Kaido. She repeated it, the syllables reverberating off the stone. Her lips curved faintly. A good name. What about yours? He asked, silenced, a heavy one, then, very softly, Lumina. Her voice cracked slightly when she said it, as if speaking her own name felt foreign, fragile, or dangerous, like a forbidden memory she wasn't allowed to keep. Lumina, Kaido repeated. He smiled. It suits you. Her breath hitched. She bowed her head slowly, almost reverently. You are the first to speak it with kindness in so many cycles. Kaido opened his mouth to reply, but the fortress suddenly trembled. Dust cascaded from the ceiling. A deep, distant explosion echoed upward through the metal and sand. Lumina stiffened. They have returned, she whispered, voice suddenly sharp with fear. The soldiers, the harvesters, they always return. Kaido's heart pounded. He checked a scanner. Energy signatures were approaching rapidly. We need to move, he said. Lumina looked down at the chains embedded into her wrists, ankles, and waist. I cannot, she murmured. I am bound, and even if I were free, they will kill you if they see you near me. They kill anyone who shows mercy. Kaido clenched his jaw and stepped toward the nearest restraint. Then I'll break these. Lumina's eyes widened, startled and almost horrified. No, she whispered. You must run. If they catch you near me, they will. I don't care, Kaido said sharply. Cutting her off, Lumina froze. I'm not leaving you to die, he continued. Not after what they've done. Not after what they put you through. For several seconds, she could only stare at him. Her voice, when it came, was smaller than he thought a giantess could ever sound. Why? She asked. Why help me? Why risk yourself for a creature the galaxy fears? Kaido met her gaze. Because you're not a creature, he wanted to say that you're someone. Someone who deserves better. Someone who deserves freedom. Instead, he simply answered, because you matter. Lumina inhaled sharply. Her eyes glistened. That, she whispered, no one has ever said. Kaido gave her a steady smile. Get used to it. Another explosion thundered through the fortress. Kaido turned to the control panel beside the cage. Okay, Lumina, time to get you out. Lumina trembled, hope flickering across her colossal form like a sunrise. You would free me? She breathed. Kaido touched the panel. Lights flickered. Warnings flashed. A low hum vibrated through the room. He glanced back at her. Yeah, he said softly. I'm freeing you. Her eyes widened, shocked, grateful, terrified, hopeful, all at once. Kaido, she whispered, voice shaking. Once you free me, I will never let you go. He smiled. Then we better survive this. Jack froze mid-step. The swamp mist curled around him like pale fingers as he stared at the source of the sound. Behind a cluster of trees, each one thick as columns, something massive shifted. Leaves rattled. Mud rippled. Even the glowing insects fled like sparks blown apart by wind that he whispered to himself. That better not be another raider mech. But it wasn't metal that IT was fleshed at a towering shape, 8 feet tall, maybe more, slumped against a fallen log. Violet skin marked with faint bioluminescent lines pulsed weakly across her arms. Her long, silver-white hair was tangled with mud and leaves, matted against a face twisted in pain. Shackles, thick, industrial, and cruel, dug in her wrists and ankles that the giantess, the real one to Jack, had heard rumors. Everyone had. They said the cage giantess would kill anyone who fed her. A myth told around fire pits, deep in frontier camps. A warning, a superstition, but standing here now, Jack realized 2 things. 1, She was real point too. She wasn't killing anyone. She was barely holding on to life. Her breathing hitched sharply as she turned her head. Eyes like molten silver cracked open, focusing on him. A low growl vibrated from her throat. A warning, but weak. Too weak. Jack raised both hands slowly, palms forward. Easy. Hey, it's okay. I'm not here to hurt you. Her gaze flicked to his sidearm holster, then to the pack on his back, then to him. Huh, man, she croaked, voice raw like it hadn't been used in days. Yeah, Jack breathed. Human, and you're hurt. She shut her eyes in shame or exhaustion. Maybe both. Jack stepped closer. She snarled. Not strong, not dangerous, but full of desperate fear. A sound that said she'd been hunted, cornered, broken. Not born a monster, made one by chains. Jack stopped, lowering himself to one knee to look less threatening. I won't touch you, he said softly. Not unless you want me to. The giantess didn't answer. Her chest heaved and shuddered, breath scraping like rusted gears. Jack reached into his pack slowly, showing her each motion. I'm just taking out med gel. See? Nothing dangerous. Her eyes locked on the glowing blue tube. She swallowed hard. Why? Because you're dying, Jack said plainly. And I don't let people die. Her luminous eyes widened. Your kind always run. Yeah. Jack gave a wry, tired smile. I'm famously terrible at following what humans usually do. The silence settled, heavy, trembling, painful. The wounds became clear now, a deep gash along her thigh, likely from an electrified chain, scorch marks across her side, bruises in the shape of a Raider shock baton, her left shoulder dislocated, her right wrist bleeding for where she'd ripped free of something that Jack's stomach turned. They tortured you. The giantess looked away, fed me fear, fed me pain, call me weapon. Jack unscrewed the med gel. Let me help you. Her voice cracked. They said, Giantess kills any who feed her. Jack met her gaze. Then I guess it's a good thing I'm not feeding you, he said gently. I'm healing you. Something in her expression broke, just a little. A tiny fracture in the shell of terror around her heart. He crawled closer, giving her every chance to push him away. She didn't. Her breathing quickened as Jack reached her leg wound. The gash stretched across thick muscle. If she were human, she wouldn't be alive. This'll sting, Jack warned. She gave a weak nod that he applied the gel. A bright burst of blue light flared as nanites activated. She gasped, deep, sharp, involuntary, and her fingers dug into the mud, carving trenches, but she didn't push him away. When the pain settled, her body sagged in relief. You're strong, Jack murmured. She blinked in confusion. Strong? No, broken. No, Jack said firmly, looking up at her. Someone tried to break you, and you're still alive. That's strength. For a moment, she simply stared at him, like she didn't understand how a small, fragile human could speak with such conviction. Then a new sound echoed through the swamp. Distant engines. Jack stiffened. Raiders. Her eyes widened in panic. Jack grabbed her hand. Huge, trembling cold. We have to move. Can't, she whispered. Leg heavy. He cursed softly, in a way she could stand. But he wasn't leaving her. He pointed at the fallen log. Can you lean on that? I just need you upright enough so I can lift under your arm. She hesitated, then nodded. Jack braced himself, sliding under her massive arm. Her weight nearly crushed him, but he gritted his teeth. I've carried mining drills heavier than this, he lied. Her lips twitched, the smallest hint of a smile through pain. Human, foolish. Frequently, he said breathlessly, but effective. They moved, slow, messy, but moving. Behind them, engines grew louder. Jack glanced up at her. Mud streaked her cheek. Her breathing rasped. But there was fear in her eyes now. Not of him, but of being taken again. He tightened his grip around her waist. I've got you, he whispered. Her head lowered until her forehead brushed his shoulder. Accidental maybe, but intimate. Name, she murmured. Jack. She swallowed thickly. Lorena. Lorena, he repeated softly. We're getting out of here. I promise. Another promise he wasn't sure he could keep. Another impossible goal. Another human stubbornness. But he would keep it if he had to, because a giantess the universe had thrown away trusted him, and he wasn't letting her go. Not now. Not ever. The swamp shook with a roar of engines. Jack tightened his grip around Lorana's waist, her massive arm draped over his shoulders like a fallen pillar. Each step was torture for her. Her leg, though treated, still burned with every movement. But worse was the fear in her silver eyes. Fear of going back. Fear of chains. Fear of becoming a weapon instead of a person. Jack dragged in a breath. Just a little more. My shuttle's close. Lorana's voice trembled. Jack, leave me. You survive. Not happening, he muttered. We walk together or not at all. Her breath hitched. Pain or emotion. He couldn't tell. Behind them, lights sliced through the swamp fog. Raider skiffs descending like vultures. Lorana shuddered violently. Memories. Torture. Shackles. Jack turned, planting himself in front of her like a shield that a human man facing armed raiders, a giantess too wounded to stand. Anyone else would have run, but Jack wasn't anyone else. Not anymore. The raiders arrived. 3 skiffs landed in a semicircle, engines kicking up mud. Raiders in black exo-armor jumped out, visors glowing red. Their captain, tall, broad, mechanical arm humming, stepped forward with a grin sharp enough to cut steel. Well, he chuckled. I thought the Giantess escaped alone. Didn't know she picked up a pet. Jack growled. She's not your prisoner. She's property, the captain corrected. Classified Imperial bioweapon. Worth more credits than you'll ever see. Lorana's fingers dug into the mud. I am not weapon, she whispered. The captain laughed. You are whatever we say you are. Jack stepped forward. She's someone. Not something. The captain tilted his head. And who are you? Some nobody human miner. Jack raised his pistol slowly. Just a man who won't abandon her. The raiders lifted their rifles. The swamp held its breath. Lorana stared at Jack. Not believing, but wanting to needing to. Jack, run, she pleaded. Lorana, he said gently. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. The bond awakens before the raiders fired. Lorana's body convulsed with a sudden pulse of glowing light. Her bioluminescent veins flared bright, racing across her skin like lightning. Jack turned, startled. Lorana? What's happening? Her eyes widened in fear. No, not again. They forced this, made me lose control. The captain smirked. Activation. Finally. Lorana trembled violently, grabbing her head. I don't want to hurt anyone. Jack grabbed her massive hands, holding them tightly. Look at me. Her glowing, panicked eyes met his. You're in control, he whispered. Not them. I can't. You can, Jack insisted, voice steady. Because you're not alone. Her breath caught. Halting, shaking that a pulse of energy surged from her chest, blinding white. Jack felt his mind pulled into hers at a psychic link. Images hit him like waves. Chains, dark rooms, electric pain, screams forced out of her. Her begging them to stop. Her begging to be seen as more than a beast. Jack grit his teeth and forced the memories back. You're not a monster, he whispered into the link. You're Lorana. And I choose you. A warmth spread through her veins, soft, bright, drowning out the terror. Her power stilled, balanced. With him, connected. The final battle, the raider captain snarled. In them both. Rifles fired. Jack dove in front of her. A blast hit his shoulder. Pain flared. But he stayed standing. That Lorana's scream tore through the swamp. Her power erupted, but controlled, focused, sharpened. She swept her arm. That a shock wave burst outward. Raider soldiers flew like leaves in a hurricane, smashing into trees and skiffs. The captain charged with his mechanical arm crackling with energy. Lorana moved, limping, but purposeful, and slammed her massive fist into the ground. The shock threw him off balance. Jack surged forward. He grabbed the captain's mechanical arm, twisting it until the gears snapped. The captain roared. You think you can stop me? A giant shadow rose behind him. Lorana, her hand closed around him like a steel vise. No one hurts Jack, she growled, and with a swift, final motion, she hurled him into the swamp. Silence. Mud settled. Engines flickered and died. The battle was over. They had won. Together. The promised Jack dropped to his knees. Exhausted. Lorana crawled toward him, fear returning. You're hurt, she whispered, touching his bleeding shoulder with shaking fingers. You saved me." He smiled tiredly. "Pretty sure you saved me too." She lowered her massive forehead against his. At their size difference, she had to bend awkwardly, but she did it anyway, a gesture of trust off emotion off something deeper. "Jack," she whispered, "I won't go back. Even if you free me, I won't leave." He reached up and touched her cheek. "You're not going anywhere. Not unless you want to." Her voice broke. "I want to stay. With you." Jack swallowed. "Then stay." Her breath shuddered. Relief and something warmer. She gently picked him up, carefully, reverently, and held him against her chest like something precious. "They said the caged giantess would kill anyone who fed her," she murmured softly. Jack chuckled weakly. "Well, I fed you med gel, and you haven't killed me yet." "No," she whispered, tightening her embrace. "Now I won't let you go." Jack rested his head against her. "And I'm not going anywhere." Epilogue. A new beginning. Weeks passed as Jack's repaired shuttle left the swamp behind, flying toward a quiet frontier moon where no empire hunted and no raiders lurked. Lorana sat beside him, still giant, still powerful, still glowing softly, but no longer broken. Her wounds healed, her chains gone, her smile real. Jack glanced at her. "You ready to start a new life?" She touched his hand, dwarfed by hers, and intertwined her fingers with careful tenderness. "A family," she whispered. "Us." He nodded. "Us." The stars stretched ahead like a road of light, and somewhere within them, a new future waited. A human mana, giantess woman bound, not by chains but by love, choice, and hope. Their story had just begun.